Hey guys, Pieguyrulz here, and welcome to a Spongy Bits special holiday edition. If you've been living under a rock, like a certain sea star, I should explain that I've been reviewing every episode of SpongeBob season by season. And occasionally, I revisit certain episodes and expand on my review. So first, I'm going to show you the clip from every SpongeBob Season 1 episode reviewed, and then I'll be back afterwards to talk a little bit more about the episode and how it fits as a Halloween episode. So here's my original review. Scaredy pants. SpongeBob is sick of being the only one scared on Halloween. Fun fact, this is the first appearance of the Flying Dutchman in the non-flesh. We see him in comic book form in Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, but here's the first time he actually appears. Anyway, my favorite part is the twist ending, funny gag, why everyone runs away screaming. But, did this episode have a lot of brain power going into it, or is it as dumb as Patrick? Well, it's a good episode, I can tell you that much. Yeah, it's a pretty fun Halloween episode. It's interesting to see all the characters dress up for Halloween. It's interesting to see the Flying Dutchman in the non-flesh for the very first time. It's interesting to have that little twist at the end with SpongeBob's brain. There's a bunch of clever gags here and there, and it's another cool episode where a bunch of characters show up. So, all in all, pretty solid episode. And I stand by that. It's a solid episode. It's not really the most memorable one, it doesn't have a ton of laughs in it, but that's kind of how a lot of Season 1 is. It's got a little bit more charm than most seasons, but a little bit less laughs. I really like SpongeBob's story arc in this episode. He just doesn't want to be the only one scared on Halloween. He's always the butt of the joke and he's sick of it. And in the end, he finally gets to pull one good scare off on everyone, even though it was accidental. And this episode really helped establish that SpongeBob is quite the fraidy cat, something that is definitely elaborated on in later episodes. Which reminds me, although this is the Halloween-themed episode, there are other episodes that are way better to watch at Halloween time. Graveyard Shift, One Crab's Trash, Nasty Patty, and heck, I hear even some of the more recent episodes do a good job of being spooky. Not to undercut the value of this episode, it certainly has its charm, it's certainly a good episode, and considering Nickelodeon doesn't air it that often, it's kind of a treat to go back and see it. Though, as you know, I'm not very impressed with the sister episode. Hey, I just realized something. Pranks-A-Lot kinda ripped this episode off, and that entire episode's about SpongeBob and Patrick running around trying to scare people, as ghosts. Even in Season 3 they were reusing ideas. The ending of this episode is actually pretty hilarious in hindsight. It is so incredibly tame compared to the horrific gross-out they'll go to in later episodes. Like, if they were to remake this episode today, you just know his brain would be pulsating with all sorts of crazy veins and disgusting bits falling off or something. It's also really bizarre to see Patrick apologize to SpongeBob for scaring him. Newer Patrick would probably give SpongeBob a dirty look or something. Amazingly enough, I think this episode could have benefited from being double length. I know they didn't do that back in Season 1, but if they did, I think this episode would be a prime candidate. There's a lot more jokes they could have made about Halloween, and it feels like they're really only scratched the surface. They try to cover different areas by having them trick-or-treat and go to a Halloween party, but I wanted to see more of both the party and them trick-or-treating. Maybe a 22-minute episode where the first half was them trick-or-treating and the second half was them at the party would have been a lot better. But hey, it could have also turned out completely awful. What do I know? All in all, it's a very modest episode. If you haven't seen it in a while, then it's certainly worth a revisit. It's on my recommendation list, but it's not that high. If you're only looking to see a few Halloween-themed cartoon episodes, you can probably skip this one. Pieguyrulz, out.